This message is issued by the Emergency Coordination Center. Ida Benoit Places, listen closely and follow the instructions that follow. Ida, this is not a drill. We are currently tracking reports of unusual canine behavior patterns across multiple counties, and your immediate attention to this matter could save your life. Over the past 72 hours, our dispatch centers have received an alarming number of calls regarding dogs exhibiting what witnesses describe as mimicry behavior. These reports began trickling in Monday evening from rural areas outside Millbrook, but the pattern has since spread to suburban neighborhoods across 3 counties. What started as isolated incidents of pet owners calling about their dogs acting human has escalated into something far more concerning. The first documented case came from a family on Riverside Drive. On Monday, Sarah Martinez called our emergency line in a state of distress. She reported that her golden retriever, Max, had been sitting at their kitchen table for over an hour. D88 perfectly upright in a chair, maintaining direct eye contact with her husband. When her husband stood up to get a glass of water, Max immediately stood as well, walked to the sink on his hind legs, and turned on the faucet with his paws. Martinez described the movement as too deliberate, too human. The dog maintained this behavior for several minutes before returning to the table and resuming his seated position. Initially, our operators classified these calls as non-emergency situations, perhaps stress-related misperceptions by pet owners. Mr. O save. Alone sibilate. However, by Tuesday morning, we had received 43 similar reports. The consistency of details across unrelated households forced us to take these incidents seriously. Every caller described the same unsettling precision in their dog's movements, the same uncomfortable direct eye contact, and the same sense that their beloved pets were somehow watching and learning. A couple on Granger Hill reported waking up Tuesday morning to find their border collie standing in front of their bathroom mirror, appearing to study its own reflection. When they approached, the dog turned to face them, then slowly raised its front paw to wave, exactly as the husband had done the previous evening when greeting neighbors. The wife, Linda Patterson, told our dispatcher that the dog's expression remained completely neutral throughout this interaction, showing none of the typical excitement or playfulness they had come to expect from their pet. Later that same day, more calls came in from the Oak Valley subdivision. A retired teacher named Robert Chen contacted us after his beagle began imitating his morning routine with disturbing accuracy. The dog had positioned itself at the kitchen counter, standing on its hind legs, and appeared to be going through the motions of making coffee. When Mr. Chen tried to intervene, the dog turned around and began walking upright toward him, maintaining the same measured pace Mr. Chen used when he was deep in thought. The most unsettling detail, according to Mr. Shane, was that the dog's breathing pattern had changed to match his own labored breathing from his recent respiratory condition. A family in Westbrook experienced what may be our most disturbing incident yet. Their German Shepherd had apparently been observing their 8-year-old daughter's bedtime routine for several nights. On Tuesday evening, the parents discovered the dog in their daughter's room, standing upright beside her bed, slowly pulling the covers up to its neck, in the exact manner their daughter did every night. When the mother called out, the dog turned its head toward her with what she described as a human expression of annoyance, as if it had been interrupted during an important task. The dog then lay down on its side, placed its head on the pillow, and closed its eyes, maintaining perfect stillness for over 20 minutes. Thursday morning brought reports from a veterinary clinic on Mountain View Road that left even our most experienced dispatchers unsettled. Angela Foster called to report that 3 separate dogs, brought in by concerned owners, had begun exhibiting the same behavior in her waiting room. Each dog sat upright in the chairs like human patients, appeared to be reading the magazines left on the side tables, and when called for their appointments, walked into the examination room on their hind legs. The Dr. Da Foster noted that the dogs seemed to understand and anticipate her examination procedures, positioning themselves without guidance, and showing none of the typical anxiety or resistance she usually encountered. Based on our analysis of these reports, we have identified 4 distinct stages of this mimicry behavior. Understanding these stages may help you recognize the warning signs and take appropriate action before the situation escalates beyond your control. Stage 1 typically begins with what appears to be enhanced observation. Your dog may spend extended periods watching your daily activities with unusual intensity. They position themselves where they have clear sight lines to observe your movements, and you may notice them tracking your actions with their head movements in a way that feels more deliberate than normal. Pet curiosity. But this stage can last anywhere from 12 to 36. Stage 2 involves initial mimicry attempts. Your dog begins copying simple human behaviors, such as standing upright for extended periods, sitting in chairs, or manipulating objects with their paws in ways that mirror human hand movements. These actions appear purposeful rather than playful, and the dog typically maintains serious facial expressions throughout these activities. Pet owners consistently report feeling watched during this stage. Stage 3 is characterized by complex behavioral copying. Dogs begin replicating entire human routines, often with disturbing accuracy. They may attempt to use household items as humans do, walk exclusively on their hind legs, or position themselves to mirror your exact posture and movements. The timing of these mimicked behaviors often coincides precisely with your own actions, creating an unsettling shadow effect. Stage 4 represents what our behavioral consultants are calling complete integration. Dogs in this stage begin anticipating human actions and may complete tasks or routines before their owners begin them. They demonstrate understanding of complex human social cues and may begin responding to situations with human-like emotional expressions and reactions. If your dog is exhibiting any of these behaviors, please follow these safety instructions immediately. When uses Bekrostum, Wakundri, Warkend, or discourage this behavior through traditional training methods. Several pet owners who tried to interrupt their dogs during mimicry activities reported that their pets became aggressive in ways completely uncharacteristic of their normal temperament. Create physical distance between yourself and your pet when mimicry behavior is occurring. Move to a different room and avoid direct eye contact, as prolonged observation seems to intensify the copying behavior. Do not perform your normal daily routines while your dog is exhibiting stage 2 or higher behaviors, as this appears to provide them with new patterns to copy. Remove or secure any potentially dangerous household items that your dog might attempt to manipulate in their mimicry attempts. We have received reports of dogs trying to use kitchen knives, power tools, and even attempting to start vehicles after observing their owners perform these actions. Most importantly, do not sleep in the same room as an affected dog. 3 families who ignored this precaution reported waking up to find their dogs standing beside their beds, perfectly still, apparently having watched them sleep for unknown periods of time. In one case, The family discovered their dog had arranged itself in the exact sleeping position of their teenage son, lying in a makeshift bed on the floor beside the boy's bed. Our investigation has expanded beyond individual household incidents as we attempt to understand the broader pattern emerging across the region. Dispatch supervisors report that affected dogs seem to be learning not just from their immediate families, but potentially from observing any human behavior in their environment. Security footage from a local grocery store shows a dog that had escaped its owner's car walking through the automatic doors, proceeding directly to the shopping cart area, and attempting to maneuver a cart through the store aisles. Animal control officers, responding to these incidents, have noted that affected dogs show no signs of illness, injury, or typical behavioral disorders. Blood work and neurological examinations reveal completely normal results, yet the behavior continues to escalate, and we are now tracking 47 missing pets whose owners reported stage 4 mimicry behavior before their dogs disappeared entirely. These dogs walk exclusively upright, maintain consistent distances from each observing houses and their human occupants through windows. We want to emphasize that this phenomenon appears to be spreading, and we currently do not have a complete understanding of what triggers the initial onset of mimicry behavior in previously normal dogs. Our research teams are working around the clock to identify potential causes and develop intervention strategies. But until we have more concrete answers, and taking immediate protective action, if you observe any of the behaviors described in this broadcast, contact the Emergency Coordination Center immediately at the number provided at the end of this message. Do not attempt to handle the situation on your own, and do not assume that your pet's long history of normal behavior guarantees your safety. We have documented cases where dogs with 15 years of gentle, predictable temperament have transitioned through all 4 stages in less than 40 hours. Remember that your dog's mimicry behavior is not a reflection of their former personality or your relationship with them. This appears to be something else entirely, something that uses your pet's familiar form, but demonstrates intelligence and awareness that extends far beyond normal canine capabilities. This broadcast will repeat every 30 minutes on this frequency. If you stop hearing these updates, do not assume the situation has been resolved. Silence may indicate that our broadcast capabilities have been compromised, and you should continue following the safety protocols outlined in this message until you receive official word that normal operations have resumed. Stay vigilant, trust your instincts, and remember that the dog watching you so intently may no longer be the pet you once knew.